Close your eyes and picture a jellyfish. For most of us, they are the ghosts of the ocean. Mindless, brainless, drifting bags of water made up of 95% moisture. They lack a heart, lungs, or even a centralized nervous system. They seem incredibly fragile. If you pull one out of the water, it literally evaporates in the sun within hours. In the grand catalog of Earth's evolutionary ledger, true jellyfish belong to an ancient lineage. In fact, they have drifted through our oceans for over 500 million years. They survive purely by existing in massive, staggering numbers. Their life is usually very simple. They drift, they sting, they reproduce, and then they die. But tucked away in the shadows of the marine world is a tiny anomaly. A creature that looked at the universal law of mortality, the absolute rule that everything that is born must eventually age and die, and chose to completely ignore it. Meet Turritopsis Dohrnii. To scientists, it's a biological miracle. To the world, it is the immortal jellyfish. When you hear the word immortal, you might picture a massive, legendary sea monster, but wait! Turritopsis dohrnii is shockingly underwhelming in person. It is only about the size of a single grain of rice. It's translucent, bell-shaped, and features a bright, vibrant red stomach visible right through its tiny center. Originally discovered in the warm waters of the Mediterranean Sea, it has since spread across the globe. Today, it establishes massive populations from the coasts of Japan all the way to the Caribbean. And despite its microscopic size, this tiny creature is a fierce carnivore, using its tentacles to snag zooplankton and small shrimp. Like all members of the jellyfish family, its tentacles are lined with nematocysts, microscopic spring-loaded venomous harpoons used to paralyze its tiny prey. But what happens if a human brushes against one? Can this immortal creature actually kill you? Fortunately, the answer is a resounding no. While the immortal jellyfish is technically venomous, it poses absolutely zero danger to humans. Why? Because it is so incredibly small. Its stinging cells lack the physical force to pierce thick human skin. If you were to swim through a swarm of them, you wouldn't feel a thing. At most, a very faint, negligible prickle. However, being immortal does not mean you are invincible. Not at all. In the harsh reality of the food chain, this tiny creature is essentially a snack. They are heavily preyed upon by larger jellyfish, sea anemones, tuna, sharks, and even sea turtles. If it gets swallowed or crushed, it dies just like any other animal. But if it manages to avoid being eaten, it possesses a genetic emergency button that alters the very fabric of life itself. To understand this mind-blowing superpower, you have to look at the typical jellyfish life cycle. It starts as a microscopic larva, which attaches to the ocean floor and grows into a plant-like stalk called a polyp. This polyp then buds and releases free-swimming adult jellyfish, known as medusae. Normally, the medusae grow old, spawn, and their bodies dissolve into the ocean. The end. But when an adult Turritopsis dohrnii faces physical trauma, starvation, or the natural wear and tear of old age, it triggers a shocking biological reversal. Instead of dying, the jellyfish drops directly to the seafloor. Its tentacles retract, its bell-shaped body condenses, and it reverts back into a shapeless blob of tissue called a cyst. Get this. Over the course of just 24 to 36 hours, this blob transforms back into a youthful polyp colony, starting the cycle completely fresh. From that polyp, brand new genetically identical adult jellyfish bud off and swim away. Imagine a butterfly that grows old, flies down to a branch, shrinks back into a cocoon, turns back into a caterpillar, and emerges as a brand new butterfly. It retains its original DNA, living the exact same life in a loop forever. How on earth is this possible without a brain or a centralized organ system? The answer lies in a rare, mysterious cellular process called transdifferentiation. In almost all complex life, including humans, stem cells start out with infinite potential but eventually specialize. A skin cell stays a skin cell, period. Adult cells cannot normally change their jobs, but during its transformation, the specialized adult cells of the immortal jellyfish essentially forget what they are. A cell that was once part of its outer skin or digestive system reverts back into a blank slate stem cell, which then converts into whatever new tissue the young polyp needs. Wow, Recent genomic mapping has revealed that Turritopsis dohrnii has massive gene duplications dedicated specifically to DNA repair, telomere maintenance, and protecting cells against aging. It possesses a literal genetic shield that prevents its cellular copy-paste mechanism from degrading over time. So, how many of these immortal creatures are out there right now? Because they are virtually invisible to the naked eye, scientists don't have an exact head count, but they know the answer is billions, if not trillions. And this introduces a dark twist to the story. This creature is currently staging a silent, global invasion. When massive cargo ships travel across the world, they suck up millions of gallons of ocean water into their ballast tanks for stability, unknowingly scooping up these tiny jellyfish. When the ships dump the water in foreign ports, the jellyfish are introduced to entirely new ecosystems, quickly spreading to every corner of the planet. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Marine biologists are watching them very closely. While they haven't completely collapsed an ecosystem yet, their ability to multiply exponentially means they could eventually outcompete native species for food. They are, without a doubt, the ultimate biological hitchhikers. But their existence might be the greatest gift to human science. Today, researchers in regenerative medicine are intensely studying the genome of Turritopsis dohrnii. Human cells only undergo transdifferentiation in highly dangerous environments, specifically inside aggressive malignant cancers. But if scientists can figure out how this tiny jellyfish manages to completely reprogram its adult cells safely, rapidly, and without errors, it could unlock the ultimate blueprint for true human tissue regeneration. We could learn how to regenerate damaged human hearts, repair severed spinal cords, or even reverse degenerative diseases. It turns out that the secret to conquering death isn't hidden in a sci-fi laboratory or an ancient myth. It's drifting quietly in the ocean currents right now, a grain of rice-sized speck that mastered eternity millions of years ago. The pages of history are full of things we thought were impossible, until nature proved us wrong. Thanks for opening the ledger with us today. If this anomaly sparked your curiosity, hit that subscribe button right now. Leave a comment on what mystery we should catalog next, and we'll see you at the very next entry. Until then, stay curious.